Jess and I just moved in 3 weeks ago. Just right before Christmas, we'd gone from cold Atlanta to sunny Tallahassee, Florida. I can't say I was happy about the move. Yeah, Tally's a fun college town, but now settled down at 35 and bound by the chains of a serious relationship. What the fuck could I do out here? Nevertheless, Jess talked me into the move. Florida State's doctorate program for clinical psychology beckoned her, so I gave in. Not like my bartender gig couldn't travel. Plus, I loved her, obviously. We'd been dating 5 years now. Of course, we met at a bar while I was working the late shift, the SOS Tiki in Atlanta. But beyond our shared love of booze, Jess and I bonded over urban exploring and scary movies. You know, excitement. Atlanta had so much to offer, but then again, so did Tally. The two of us were content so far. Not an easy transition, but hey, we weren't miserable, even while we spent the holidays far from our folks. I was just glad our parents had given us the greatest gift of all, tuition money. Now my lazy part-time work at the Fourth Quarter Bar and Grill wouldn't be our only lifeline, as Jess busted her ass in the program. Not to mention I had some extra poker money. Considering the low rent and circumstances, the Meridian wasn't a bad place to live. Yeah, Jess and I were broke as shit, but apartment 1A felt like home. Beyond the tall, plain white buildings and superficial palm trees, our little one-bedroom was just right for right now, even if the bland design resembled a Florida roach motel, one complete with cramped apartments and a dirty swimming pool. Over the past few weeks, Jess and I had been hiding out here. We rarely saw anyone around the complex. Then again, even for Tally, the January cold was too much for barbecues or swimming. Every day we walked our little chihuahua, Ripley, around the apartments, out toward High Road, and like a morning ritual, we'd always see Jordan lurking across the street. The old blonde-haired lady would tend to her garden religiously, dedicated to the dirt and soil. With a glowing smile offsetting her frail frame, Jordan invited us over, desperate for the company and the chance to pet Ripley. She was nice enough. Along with the green eyes, her southern accent somehow soothed me, as did her quaint one-story house. The small brick home sat alone in Jordan's field of flowers and shrubbery. The few times Jess and I had gone inside, we got a first-hand glimpse of Jordan's many antiques spanning over many decades spent traveling. There was the handmade purple crystal ball she bought from Trinidad, the grotesque Louisiana death painting she had hanging in her living room, right next to her dream catcher on those blue bedroom walls. Jordan was strange, but so goddamn cool. A widowed hippie with an open mind. And yeah, she grew great weed, too. Alexis and Adam lived right next door, both of them goth types. Attractive but odd. Alexis was a pretty Latina with wild black hair, her red highlights as flamboyant as the sleeves of Wiccan tattoos covering her arms. Adam was tall, pale, and gangly, his wardrobe nothing but band tees and black jeans. Like crooks on the lam, I never saw them leave the Meridian. They didn't work or go to school. Too young to be burnouts, but too old to be drowning in Hot Topic gear. Regardless, Adam and Alexis were nice people. Their soft-spoken friendliness offset the stylish angst. Jess and I spent plenty of time over in 1B drinking and smoking. Both of our apartments were adjoined shitholes anyway. Parallel images of stained carpets, cracked windows, and uncomfortable beds. At some point, I knew we needed to get the fuck out. Maybe once Jess became Dr. Jess Farrell, or maybe if I won a big poker tournament. Then we could get a nice house like Jordan's, a cute home we could settle down in. At this rate, I wouldn't even care if it was in Tally, or some no-name North Florida town. I just wanted us to be stable and happy. I wanted Jess and comfort, but we still had a ways to go, 5 years at least, and we'd have to work as a team. Jess was already helping pay rent, with an online gig teaching English to foreigners. Sketch as fuck, but fuck it. It helped pay the cheap rent, and for weed for our high road harmony. We'd almost survived the first month. Now tonight, we were just trying to survive the January cold. Around midnight, we huddled up in bed beneath several covers. The room our fortress from the frigid weather. One of our many embarrassing efforts at cutting costs. The night's supper of ramen and PBR, yet another cringy example. We kept Ripley in a cage by the bed. Both of us animal lovers. Jess and I made sure she was warm. From what I could tell, she had more blankets than us. Certainly nicer ones. Ripley now slept more soundly than I had since the move. Through the window's cobweb cracks, I saw nothing but darkness. Judging by the lack of streetlights and security cameras, apparently the Meridian looked to be saving on their electric bill too. Jess and I spread out on the groaning bed, but we knew we weren't alone. Not when we could hear Alexis and Adam's ferocious sex next door, on their twin squeaky mattress amidst their awful emo rock. Since December, Jess and I had been enjoying the cheaper attractions in Tally, the serene beauty of Lake Ella and the creative wonder of Lichgate. But every night, we'd been out camping here in our bedroom station. Jess on her iPhone, me on the laptop. I played cheap poker as our modest flat screen exhausted the catalog of horror movies and scary YouTube countdowns, and yet we could always hear our dear friends in 1B. Flashing that mischievous smile, Jess faced me. She was 7 years younger than me, but that rebellious side of her always showed in that smirk. She was the most badass between us, not to mention more muscular than me, and her toughness went beyond being a wild blonde with fiery dark eyes. There was the intellect, the sarcasm, the courage to lead me through all the weird abandoned buildings we'd visit, or help me endure all those gory horror movies. Her sheer magnetism was what drew me in all those years ago. That being said, I was a pretty tall, muscular guy myself. Handsome if not pretty. I wore my angular features and short spiked black hair with pride, and spoke in a deep, sincere tone. Call me masculine or macho, just not a millennial. But still, I cared. I bled compassion regardless of my 35 hard years here. Through all the dive bars and disgusting nightclubs, I was still Corey, still me. Dressed in a vintage San Diego Chargers pajama shirt, I looked away from my small blind, straight toward my girlfriend's pretty face. She nodded behind us, toward the thin wall separating 1A from Alexis and Adam's mosh pit of love.
Corey, put on something,
she said. All the smoke hadn't affected Jess's good looks, but it had given her a voice raspier beyond its young years. I looked at the flat screen. Like what?
I don't know, just put on something.
Fumbling through the sheets, I finally found the remote.
I'm tired of hearing them,
Jess said with a laugh. Cracking a smile, I scrolled through YouTube, through the cheap slasher movies and suggested scary channels. You know, that could be us.
Oh my God,
Jess replied. Laughing, she gave me a light shove.
Maybe later, creep.
All right, I'll hold you to it, I joked. Like a soft siren, the poker site's beeps brought me back to the game. I had pocket aces on the button, and time was running out. Shit, I yelled.
Give me that,
Jess said. Racing toward the game, I felt Jess snatch the remote from my hand, but I didn't care about the TV power. Not now. I mashed the touchpad. Too late. In a horrific instant, the bullets were gone from my screen, and so were my potential micro-stakes earnings.
Hey, let's watch this,
I heard Jess shout. I faced the flat screen, saw the marquee of a video title read, Top 10 Mysteries Solved, Video Proof, 1. A post uploaded by real live ghosts. The haunting thumbnail screamed clickbait, nothing more than a spooky smorgasbord of ghosts and hovering specters, obviously ripped off from popular paranormal movies. And yet somehow, this motherfucker had over 500,000 views. Real live ghosts with over 50K subscribers. I always knew the YouTube crowd was far from cultured, but goddamn, seeing this shit made me realize I'd made a bad career choice, not making cheesy horror videos or channels devoted to exploiting tragic crimes. But still, those cinematic ghosts held my gaze. Samara from The Ring always creeped me out, even more so now in the cold. The long black hair and pale face sent chills down my spine. And now I felt isolated with Jess. Even Adam and Alexis were quiet in 1B. Jess and I sat there alone in silence, alone with this most mysterious video.
You want me to start it?
Jess asked. I faced her exciting eyes. She was ready to mash play in one frenetic hit. I knew she'd hit it regardless. Jess was far from chained to my opinion or advice, but I appreciated the polite formality at least. Yeah, go ahead, I replied. Beep went my poker sight. The noise scared me from the tension, away from those grim, gaunt ghosts. I looked down at pocket sixes. The goddamn timer got me again. Leaning over, Jess pushed my laptop away.
Put it up. Let's watch this.
Immediately came soft, cryptic piano chords, a deep voice from the chambers of horror movie cliches.
Real-life ghosts. Beware,
said the video's narrator. We shared a chuckle, still buzzed from the drinks and weed. For once, I wasn't going to argue with her. I shut the laptop. The poker could wait when this top 10 looked to be gold. Ominous font crawled across the screen. Number 10, it said. But that didn't stop the next words from further freaking me out. She was believed dead, until now. Then came the first clip. Grainy footage filmed inside a suburban bedroom, the quality somewhere between CCTV and a home video. There was a scared college-age guy staggering around. The bedside lamp and glowing TV illuminated his fear. His breakdown accelerated by stress or outright terror. No, he screamed. With a ferocious flourish, the guy tore open his closet door. Where are you? Then a young Asian woman emerged in a most agonizing methodical crawl, the slimy hands pulling her from underneath the bed. She stood up tall and thin. The frizzy black hair fell behind her. Her body waterlogged and bloated as if she were covered in countless tumors. The red hoodie soaked straight into her flesh. Even in the darkness, anyone could see she wasn't human, not living at least. But yet she just stood there, lingering on her inevitable move.
What the hell?
I heard Jess mutter, but I was transfixed, fucking scared. The meridian was all quiet, the tension thick. I'd seen plenty of staged videos before, but this wasn't it. And even weirder, I'd never seen this one before. But deep down, I knew no amateur YouTuber could pull off that ghost, or this guy's extreme terror. Further enhancing the authenticity, there were no jump scares, no dumbass shock music, only the spirit's slow stagger. The guy crashed back against the wall, his gasping for breath painful, his face contorted in fear. Helpless, he just watched the Asian woman get closer and closer. Considering the dim lighting, the carnage was clear. The woman dismembered him in a long, methodical process, piece by piece, using nothing but supernatural force. First, his organs spilled out, then came the arms. The young man fell to the ground in a messy collapse. Like a surgeon, the ghost leaned over him, pulling out his legs, digging through his stomach, all while the guy's unsettling screams created the soundtrack. Blood coated the walls, over the camera, the man's severed limbs and head grisly ornaments for his bedroom's renovation. For a final shot, the Asian woman looked right at us, staring straight at Jess and I. Jess clutched my hand in a death grip, and I did the same. On screen, the woman displayed a toothy smile. Vivid blood joined the water covering her swollen skin. Moving slow and steady, she leaned in toward the camera, ready for her close-up. Disturbed, I turned away. My body kept trembling, my buzz replaced by a hovering horror. I needed more beer, but I was all out. And this was just a warm-up. Somehow this fucking video ranked 10th place. They continued on, an assembly line of terrifying, gory videos, each one only separated by the same ghoulish font and piano. And I could tell each one got more recent, even more terrifying. Black, white, male, female. These were a diverse group of ghosts, and they didn't discriminate when it came to their victim pool. The slaughters were vicious, usually 1 or 2 people, sometimes an entire family, and they were always killed in a single bedroom. In every video, real live ghosts made the same claim. These were all spirits. The paranormal solved the mysteries of what had happened to the real people, how they went missing, how they died, and this channel damn sure had the video evidence. Snuff films of the dead. Jess and I stayed scared, but couldn't look away, much less move. I felt her nervous sweat stick to mine, all the way up to video number 3. Died under mysterious circumstances, read the intro. The eerie music accompanied the next line. But still with us. This video was the clearest yet, not to mention the newest. A pristine HD camera captured a bedroom, one that was kind of familiar. There were the blue walls, and an unmistakable Louisiana bloodbath hanging by the dreamcatcher, the same painting Jordan had. To our collective horror, Jess and I saw our friend sound asleep, a clueless star to this horrifying show. And then I saw what Jordan had been watching on TV. YouTube. Real live ghosts. This very fucking countdown.
Oh my god,
Jess said. She faced me.
is this real?
Letting panic take hold, I looked into her worried eyes. I don't know. I clung tighter to my baby's hand, gripping onto it for safety. Jordan's closet door creaked open. A tall, teenage black boy stood there. He wore a white shirt and black pants, but was shoeless. His socks dirty beyond belief. The kid's dreads cluttered like thick cobwebs. Moving in a deliberate, eerie shuffle, the boy marched inside, closer toward the bed, closer toward Jordan. For once, I was upset at the perfect picture video quality. The boy's face was clearly beaten to a bloody pulp, battered and smashed, his eyelids forced halfway down. His lips and cheeks were bloated in post-mortem fashion. Dark red makeup applied to his bruised brown skin, a face dislodged and disjointed from the many punches and hits. The teen stood up over Jordan, somehow able to form a crooked smile. Adrenaline showed in his shaking body, the first excitement he felt in years, maybe decades.
Jordan, wake up!
Jess shouted at the screen, her futile effort fueled by instinctual panic, the need to save our neighbor. But I knew she didn't have a chance. We couldn't help her. Not now. With a paranormal fury, the boy reached down. His harsh grip fastened around Jordan's throat, a rude awakening. Leaning up, Jordan let out a frightened scream, one so short-lived before the boy's scarred hands took hold. First, her voice went out. Then Jordan's body entered a frenetic frenzy. She threw wild kicks, a desperate attempt at survival. Reaching out, Jordan couldn't push the boy away, couldn't unlock his tight hold. She grew weaker and weaker. Blood, rather than breaths, came out of her mouth. The kid forced her back onto the bed. Still grinning, he applied more strength, going in for the kill. Jordan sunk deeper into the bed. Her mouth stayed agape. Red splashes hid her wrinkles. And soon, Jordan's hands went still. Focused, the man pushed Jordan further down, as if he were lowering her into a mattress grave. In a ferocious finish, Jordan's eyes popped out, and blood spewed from those empty sockets, all over the bed, all over the kid's unflinching face. Hanging on by slimy threads, Jordan's green eyes dangled alongside her cheeks. Nothing more than grotesque face tattoos, and the final act to her sadistic death. Weeping, Jess and I sat there in a disturbed silence. We couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Those scenes, these death clips, were all too real. The video cut out. The channel's piano theme accompanied a funeral black screen. Then the title for number 2 appeared. They're still alive, even after death. Featured in the same clean camera work was another bedroom. Its lone window full of cracked glass, the carpet with stains galore. The place was a total shithole, identical to ours besides the Slipknot poster and towering pink bong lying on the dresser, and the couple in bed. There was Alexis and Adam. Alexis in her bra and panties, Adam in his boxers. Both of them stared at the camera, bewildered and uneasy.
That's them.
Jess shouted. She looked behind us, at the thin wall separating us from our friends in 1B.
What the hell is this?
I watched the couple look back and forth between the camera and their own TV, and I saw why. They too were watching YouTube, watching the top 10 mysteries solved video along with us. Oh fuck, I said. Deep through the horror, I now realized the countdown was getting closer, and I had a strong, unnerving suspicion who would be number 1. Alarmed, Jess banged on the wall.
Alexis!
She screamed. In an eerie echo, we heard the same thing in the video. Jess's hysterical hits, her nervous voice. We saw them jump out of bed. The couple held on to each other, their bodies quivering in the cold, their uneasy gaze glued to the bedroom door. Together, Jess and I watched the video, a river of terror surging through our veins.
Fuck, it's a live stream,
Jess said. We heard Adam scream, both through the speakers and the wall. Like a nervous voice lost in transmission, we heard them cry out to us. Tears sliding down her face, Jess looked behind us.
No, what the fuck is this?
Then I saw it. 2 young teenage girls appeared in the video's frame, both of them wearing hoodies and blue jeans, decorated with blood and stab wounds. Both of them country girls, their skin a deathly pale, crimson highlights stuck in their blonde hair. The girls' smiles sharper than the knives they held. In a sadistic taunt, they held the weapons out toward our friends. Now we heard their screams and the girls' carnal cries for flesh. The unsettling chorus surrounded us. Jess and I shed frightened tears as we watched the video. Their screams now reached a painful apex. We heard them through that goddamn wall, through our goddamn souls. Jess pulled me off the bed.
Come on.
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the video fade to black. Now all I heard was the horrific audio, both on screen and off. Panicking, I stopped her. No, you stay here. I'll call the police. Amidst the screams and slaughter, we heard Ripley bark, and when she was alarmed, so were we. Immediately, Jess and I turned, followed Ripley's frantic eyes toward the flat screen, toward video number 1. Like funeral bells, the piano theme began, drawing us into the ominous title. She was missing, but now we found her. Next door, Alexis and Adam went quiet. There were no more screams, no more struggle, nothing but the silence of death. Jess snatched my arm.
Oh God.
She stole a look behind us. The dread dominated her. I felt her chills, and she sure as shit felt mine.
Alexis,
she said. But I stared on at the flat screen. By now, the title had faded away. The clean footage showed us, Jess and I, standing there in our Tallahassee apartment, alone in our bedroom, each of us in scared shambles, helpless, as we waited to see who was number 1. Hey guys and ladies, thanks for watching. Send your story or creepypasta to the email in the description. My merch, Patreon, Instagram, Twitter, and Discord are down there too. Anything you do to help support the channel is much appreciated. Likes and up. So, that was a story by my buddy Rhonnie14 on Reddit. RHONNIE14. And he wrote that story just for me. I mean, Ripley's even in it. How cool is that? And we had been kicking around ideas about doing something exclusive. And he was saying, well, what kind of story do you want? And I was like, you know what? Because I've done several of his stories. And clearly he's a great writer. And I was like, just write whatever you want. But do one thing for me, make it brutal. And he did that, so. I don't think I've done more stories by one person than Rhonnie. And I'll be doing more, I know that. Alright, so, thanks for watching. I love you guys. And be good to animals, even people. See ya.
Ja, snämma, Bergsbes, Rish.